Okay, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I put a poll, I created a poll. It was my first time, so I don't know where it's going to show. If you see it, feel free to answer. That'll help me out. Okay. Hello, my Life with Crypto brothers and sisters, and welcome to another Money Monday live training. For today's topic, I'll be discussing the difference between cryptocurrency and digital currency. And the poll that I just put on Facebook, that I'm not sure where it went, is: do you know the difference? Do you understand the difference between a digital currency and a cryptocurrency? And the answers were yes, no, and not sure. So if you wouldn't mind filling that out, that would be awesome. It'd give me an idea of what you guys know. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. So with the recent development of central bank digital currencies, also known as CBDCs, many people are becoming confused about the difference between a digital currency and a cryptocurrency. Today, I'll do my best to explain the difference simply. To start this conversation, I must first give you a high-level overview of blockchains, because the type of chain used is often the determining factor of what kind of currency is used. For this training, I will keep it simple and not go into great detail on all the different types of DLT systems that are out there. This subject is covered in depth in my Let's Crypto Bootcamp training. So if you'd like to sign up for the waitlist, I will put the link in the comments. So all cryptographically controlled complex distributed database systems are called distributed ledger technology systems. So they're cryptographically controlled complex distributed database systems. That's what a DLT is. But there are many types of distributed ledger technologies, networks, or systems. And the most commonly known DLT system is the blockchain. And of course, blockchain appends transactions sequentially or linearly, but not all of them do it that way. And Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoin are all types of blockchains. They all append their transactions or their data sequentially, linearly. Bitcoin and Dogecoin are proof of work blockchains that require large amounts of computing power to validate transactions. Ethereum is a proof of stake blockchain, as of recently, which requires large quantities of ETH coins to become a transaction validator. Now, if you don't understand what all that means, let me know in the comments, and I will expound in some other trainings. And you can also learn all about that in my Let's Crypto Bootcamp training. The next most widely used DLTs are Hashgraph and DAG. And DAG stands for a directed acyclic graph. And I'm not, as I said, I'm not going to go into those in detail here because I cover them in detail in the bootcamp. So distributed ledgers, or DLTs, are categorized as public or private and permissioned or permissionless. And they can actually be any combination of any of those two. The most common DLT network systems today are public and permissionless. And the public and permissionless DLTs are blockchains that are called the Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Dogecoins are some examples. Private and permissioned is the second most common, and the ones that I know about are Ripple is a private permissioned network, and the coming CBDCs will also be private and permissioned. And as you'll find out later, I've found out recently that there's actually two different kinds of CBDCs that are getting ready to be released. I think they're both going to be released. One may have usurped the other one. I'm not sure. We'll talk more about it in just a sec. In the next image, we will all look at the taxonomy of DLT networks and see where digital currencies and cryptocurrencies belong. This image is a great flowchart that will help you understand why we have cryptocurrencies and digital currencies. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to get the entire image on the screen all at once. So we'll just go through it as we need to. So it starts out at the top with, and this is a great flow chart. So how many copies of the ledger are there to start with? So remember, the ledger is like the distributed database. And if there's only one copy, then that would be synonymous with your bank account at your bank. There's only one copy of the ledger. It's not shared amongst, a whole bunch of nodes on the network. And that's where the USD, the digital version of USD, the euro, the pound, etc., around the world, all fiat currencies that are digital are a single layered database. And those are digital currency that are legal tender. So moving on, answering the next question. How many copies of the ledger are there? What if there's many copies? Okay, so the next question is, who can use these copies of the digital ledger? If there's a single owner or a group of owners, then that would be a permissioned private shared ledger. And I didn't have time to look up a whole bunch of different types of permissioned private DLTs, because those aren't ones that we would actually have anything to do with. I'm guessing that Maersk had their own, because they were working with IBM there for a while to try to create a supply chain that was permissioned and private. That it was a supply chain distributed ledger network that all the people that were involved in shipping products around the world would be allowed to participate in. So that's one that I can think of. And I really don't know if those have tokens or coins or not. But those don't affect you and me at all, unless you work for one of those companies. So let's move on and ask and answer the next question. Who can use these copies of the many copies of distributed ledgers? We went and did a group of owners, a single owner or a group of owners. What if we go down and say anyone can use the copies? Well, now we're getting into permissioned public networks. All right, let me back up and say, if anyone can use these digital ledger, the copies of the digital ledger, the next question is, who maintains integrity of that ledger? I skipped a step. So if who maintains the integrity of the ledger, if it's a trusted ledger owners or it's actors or by validation, in other words, there's a lot of nodes on the network, then that's going to be a permissioned public shared ledger. Now, permissioned means that there are nodes, but there's only a small quantity of nodes, and they all know each other usually. It'll be a handful of companies or something. And that is a permissioned public ledger. And this is where distributed digital currencies are going to belong. So the trusted ledger owner could be a government, or it could be a company. Let's see, I'm trying to think of an example besides CBDCs that's a public permissioned ledger. And I can't think of one off the top of my head. This is the best. Ripple would be one. It says right here. Ripple is another public permissioned shared ledger. So you have to have permission to get onto their network. And right now, most of us know that Ripple is being used by different banks around the world to transfer assets, money, whatnot, between banks. And so who's getting permission are all the different banks. You and I can't get on that network. Okay, so let's move on and say, who maintains the integrity of the ledger? Any user or by untrusted consensus. Okay, so if any user can use it and any user can provide consensus or become a validator, let's say, then that is a permissionless public blockchain or other type of DLT. And this is where cryptocurrencies and stablecoins live. So these bottom two here are really the two we are most interested in. So these are both public distributed ledgers. One is permissioned and one is permissionless. So when the CBDCs come out, you can't just join it. You have to be given permission to join it if you choose to join it. You'll be given permission probably through your bank. And as most of you know who are in my Facebook group here, that public permissionless blockchains we're all using right now, if you're a trader or if you own any crypto whatsoever, almost all of the well, all of the ones that we can trade are all public and permissionless. And that's like over 20,000 different cryptocurrencies right now, are all on these public and permissionless distributed ledger technology types of networks. And they're mostly blockchains, but they're not all blockchains. Some are DAGs, and some are hash graphs, and some are even other different things that we won't even need to talk about right now. Okay, now I'd like to go into some definitions. So the definition of a digital currency is any currency, money, or money-like asset stored or exchanged on digital computer networks. All fiat currency stored or exchanged online via computer is considered a digital currency. And that, as we just talked about, that would be like your US dollar, your euro, your pound, your Japanese yen, your yuan, whatever. And those are generally accessed via your bank account. That's a single ledger. All cryptocurrencies, including stablecoins, are a type of digital currency. All CBDCs are a type of digital currency. So I hope that helps, that thus far helps understand that every type of digital currency asset that you can access online is a digital currency. So let's go on to cryptocurrencies, and then I'll come back and finish that statement. So cryptocurrencies, the non-stable coin types, are digital or virtual currencies with no physical assets backing it. Now, the IRS is the one generally who calls cryptocurrencies virtual currencies. Most of us just call it a cryptocurrency, but it is a digital currency and it has no physical assets backing it for the most part. They are decentralized coins or tokens with no central authority controlling them. Crypto is speculative and is used for trading, or it's used for payments of goods and services. So when I say that it's speculative, because there's really nothing backing it. Whoops, it looks like Facebook lost me for a second. Let's see if it comes back. I'm going to assume that you can at least still hear me. The video looks like it might have dropped off, but I'm going to keep talking and hope that this goes through. If it doesn't, I will redo this video and I'll upload it separately. So as I was saying, cryptocurrencies is speculative and is used for trading, and it's used for payment of goods and services. And we call it speculative because there is nothing backing cryptocurrencies. There's no company that has earnings backing it. And that's why we call it speculative. What causes the movement of crypto is everybody buying and selling it. Because there's really nothing driving it up or down other than people wanting to own it. So it's speculative. Cryptocurrency is not legal tender, and you can't use it to pay federal taxes with it. Okay, cryptocurrencies that are stable coins are slightly different. Digital or virtual currency with a physical asset backing it is a stable coin. Stable coins are backed by fiat currency, government bonds, or other similar asset. Stable coins are pegged one-to-one to fiat currency, like the US dollar. They can be used for payment of goods and services, but are not legal tender for taxes, at least so far. They are decentralized coins and tokens controlled by a central authority. And USDC, the USDC token, is controlled mainly by Goldman Sachs. The USDT, as in Tom, token is controlled by a company called Tether. And the BUSD token is controlled by Binance and Paxos. At least they're the ones who created it. So central bank digital currency, I believe there are two versions of it based on my research. There's the CBDC that we've all heard about in the last few months. It is also called digital fiat currency. It is issued by a central bank and controlled by the government. It's backed by the trust and faith of the local government. It is not backed by physical assets. But there's another CBDC that I've recently learned about, and I'm going to call it the QFS CBDC. This is also called a digital fiat currency, and it is issued by the Quantum Financial System and controlled by the QFS Alliance. It will be the CBDC currencies will be backed by physical assets such as gold, platinum, palladium, diamonds, oil, and other assets. And it will be the type of asset that is backing it. It will be determined by individual countries and the sovereign currency that they use in their country. So I'm a little concerned that my videos never came back on Facebook, it looks like. But that is all I have for today's training, and I hope you found today's content helpful. If you have questions, leave them in the comments, and if you enjoyed today's training, please put a 1 in the comments and share your thoughts. If you have a topic that you'd like me to cover on a Money Monday training, just let me know in the comments section as well. Well, that's all I have for today. I appreciate you joining me, and I may redo this training and upload it as a recorded training instead of doing it live, since it looks like the internet's not working very good right now. I apologize for that to all of you about that, but we will get this to you. So enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye for now.